All right, we're back. Another season. Pro football show. Chevy Silverado. Chicago. Couldn't be more excited to be back.
Yeah, Will, how are you feeling?
Boys, girl, this season is going to be awesome. But who is this jabroni?
That's the mystery guest. Different host every single week.
I love that idea. Let's go!
Welcome to the Pro Football Show presented by the Chevy Silverado, Week 17 of the NFL. We are obviously not in studio together. We are all in our respective places for the holidays. Dan, first of all, thank you for filling in for me last week when I had family things. I also was told that you said it was the most important gambling week of the year, that you cannot have a bad gambling week during the holidays. And from what it looks like, you had a pretty good week.
I mean, I crushed it. But let's be honest. So I do. People will be like, "Oh, you don't bet all your bets or your picks." So for this show, we have to pick every game. I don't bet every single game, but I do. Like if I'm betting the games, I'm betting what I say on this show. So I'm consistent with that. My problem over Christmas was I think I went like 7-1. And I went huge on the Cowboys. And I was texting Will, and it's like just classic, idiot gambling brain. Like I went huge on the Cowboys. I lost my NBA bets. But the Ravens, I was so confident in the Ravens, and they came through for me. So we got it all back. But yeah, those are the worst. When you go 7-1 and you're like, wait, I didn't win any money today because I'm an idiot and I like doubled, tripled up on one bet. But yeah, we're back. And Will's back too because he had the Raiders outright, money line.
Yes, that is the only bet that saved me because I texted Dan and I was pretty down in the dumps. I was just like, hey, it's just not a really good day. Every bet that I made was on, every game that I lost up until the Raiders. I put $250 on the money line, won everything back. So we're back in the saddle. That was a massive win, by the way. That was a massive win by the Raiders.
Yes.
Massive win. And I know, so it's the holidays still. I mean, this week between Christmas and New Year's always feels fake. I know we have the Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl, so we have to do a little bit of work all together, but you have 14 games on New Year's Eve. So Dan, I assume that this is also the most important week of the year because it's still the holidays.
Yeah, I mean, I'm betting every bowl game. I don't even know who's opting in, opting out. I don't even my new strategy is like I'm not even reading about the bowl games. I'm just going straight off vibes, and I've actually been okay with that. But I've also like bet a couple games. I'm like, who the fuck is starting for Minnesota right now? So it's a mess out there. And I know, Kayce, you got Texas A&M going right now.
Yes, I do.
Wisconsin's got a big game on New Year's Day. Will, when does Nebraska play?
Next year, September, I believe. Maybe the end of August. I'm not sure. I don't know if
a lot of good practice you're missing out. That's a lot of good practice you're missing out.
Hey, listen, winter conditioning is just an extension of spring ball. Right now, they're working on the new guys. All eyes are on Dylan Raiola getting in the building. Expect us to have a big year going into 2024.
I got to say, A&M is playing right now. I know by the time this airs, we'll probably be talking about how A&M lost. But I almost wish I wasn't playing in a bowl game because it's so ugly and so gross. So, Will, I'm kind of envious that you're just sitting at home right now not having to watch what I'm watching.
Kayce, look, playing in a bowl game these days is overrated if you're not playing the college football playoff.
You said that all season long.
Definitely. He didn't want to be an Indy at all playing in the Big Ten championship against Michigan. Did not want to be there.
I have one other thing I would like to say. This is going to be by far the least prep I've done for the show in a given week because of Christmas and everything. Like it's a quick turnaround. We're taping on Wednesday. So I want people to know that right now because I am red hot. I'm like, 127 and 100? That's ridiculous. No, not to brag. It's just ridiculous. But I was thinking about it. I was like, all right, so I haven't done a lot of prep. Will and I have been like neck and neck. Let's just make this one interesting. Will, you owe me $1,000 cash. Let's go double or nothing heads up on this week.
Why not?
Okay.
All right,
I'm down.
Double or nothing.
Down,
if I beat you this week, $2,000, and if you beat me, $0.
Okay.
I like that.
Let's go.
It's the core three. We don't have a guest to muck it up, so it's just between the two of you. So let's get into it.
Heads up.
Heads up. Man on man, best on best. Put the ball down.
Hey, just Big Cat versus Will Compton. And I mean, Dan, Will is on a heater right now in Barstool content. He's just winning everything, obviously coming off surviving Barstool. So you might need to knock him down a few pegs.
Yeah, I mean, what was the 127 and 100? what is it?
Yeah.
100, 127 and 100. Will's having a nice job. He's doing 124 and 103. Yeah. He needs a big week to catch up to me.
He does.
I'm on
He
your
does.
heels.
All right, so let's get straight into it. We're going to start with the Lions and the Cowboys, the Saturday night game. The Cowboys -6 right now. It is Wednesday, so obviously these lines are going to change, like Dan said. But the Lions, won their division for the first time in 30 years last week with their win. The Cowboys are in the playoffs, but still looking to clinch. Dan, I'll start with you. The Cowboys, they're great at home, and this is in Arlington. They stink on the road. What do you make of them going into the last couple weeks of the regular season?
So that Cowboys-Dolphins game, I weirdly walked away from it being like the Cowboys looked good. They had, if they don't fumble at the goal line, if they have, I said this on PMT, but if the Cowboys have Ezekiel Elliott, they win that game. They're missing a goal line back who can get them 2 or 3 yards when everything gets tight. And Tony Pollard has not been that guy around the goal line. When he tried to cut up and just got absolutely smothered by the linebacker, that was the difference in the game because they fumbled the next play. So in a weird way, even in a loss, I was like, okay, Dak showed me something that last drive. The Cowboys clearly are like a very, very good team, and it wasn't just like a dud effort on the road. I'm going to take the Cowboys here, and I'm only going to do it because of the letdown spot for the Lions. I was hoping that the line would be more like 4. It's 6. And I know the Lions offense can score on anyone, but I think the Lions defense, like you saw it on Sunday, they started getting stops when Hawkinson and Addison went out. Like before that, Nick Mullins was ripping them apart at 400 yards. I think the Cowboys are going to be able to score at will here. And if the pass rush can get home a little bit, I like the Cowboys. And I just think there's just a definite letdown spot here for the Lions winning their first NFC North title in the history of the franchise.
Yeah. Will?
Yeah, everything Dan said, it scares me about this game, but I like the 6.5 points or the 6 points. It might have went down to 6 now that,
Six.
okay, yeah, that
That was
Detroit's
quick.
hitting.
That was quick for you to start buying half points right in my
Yeah,
face.
I tried to sneak that one in.
That was so fast.
Look, Dan Campbell is the coach of the year. This team, this organization hasn't won the division since the AFL-NFL merger back in 1970. They control their destiny. They're itching. They're scratching. They are clawing, just like the Cowboys, for that number one spot. A bye week in the first round if they win out. I don't know if they get the job done. I think it's going to be high scoring. I think at Jerry's World, the over hits quite a bit. So it's going to be high scoring. But here's a nice little stat, a neat little stat for you, Dan. The Lions, when their O-line is healthy, which they are, they've played together 6 times this year. They are 6-0. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Lions with the points. I think everything Dan said is spot on. However, I think the gambling gods are giving us 6 points here, and I'm going to go ahead and take them. Lions +6.
The Lions' offensive line is so good, and it's not like the bet is not the Lions' offense. They're really good. It's just the Lions' defense. I don't know. Like this will be one of the best offenses, if not the best offense the Lions play. And you look whenever they play really good offenses, they get torched. So I think it's gonna be a volatile game. I agree with you. The over. Like I think it's gonna be back and forth.
And like we said, Dallas is very good at home. But Dan, before we move on from this, what do you make of the fact that Dak has been getting sacked a lot? I think it's like three plus sacks in 4 straight games or something along those lines. Does that concern you at all for Dallas?
Yeah, he's weirdly holding onto the ball and he'll like kind of start to run and then there's just nothing there. I don't know. There might be a little bit of like he's trying to make the perfect play at all times because the interceptions were a problem last year. They haven't been this year, so maybe that's in his head a little bit where it's like I don't want to be the interception guy, but I just think this is a get right spot for their offense against a porous Lions defense.
Yeah, Dak's playing well. I mean,
he's playing really well.
Yeah, he's not turning the ball over. Like if you watch even the opening drive against Miami, like they're efficient. They know exactly what they're trying to do. When they didn't get that touch on the red zone, McCarthy's pissed off. Like you can tell these guys are moving with intention. So Dallas, they could be hot going into the playoffs.
Let's go to the Saints and the Bucks. They played in week 4. Of course, the Bucks won 26-9. The Bucks, you talk about red hot in December. They've not lost this month. And, they're looking to win the NFC South for the 3rd straight year. Will, I'll start with you. The Saints have been struggling. The Bucks are red hot, but could you see this be a spot where that might flip a little bit?
I like the Bucks. Baker Mayfield, 8 touchdowns, no interceptions in the last 3 games. This is a team that nobody is talking about. They don't have a lot of spotlight or expectation. They're always counted out. That's exactly what Baker Mayfield wants. Like, that's where he's good. And I think with all the internal, like with the Saints right now, I think that there's a lot of internal politics going on now that you're getting to the end of the year. Dennis Allen, Derek Carr, this could be an over game as well. You could see the Bucks getting up and then DC putting up some points late in the game. But I like the Bucks here. Hey, BC, easy with the breathing. You're really getting into that microphone with the
That's
breath.
because I'm about to say something I don't want to say.
Yeah, you're itching to talk about this game. He's hungry for this game.
Yeah, he
I don't want to say. I'm going to say something I don't want to say. That was labored breathing because I'm nervous about what I'm going to say.
You're going to say Dennis Allen's pulling this one off.
I'm going to say the Saints are the play here. It's the dumbest thing I'll probably do all week. It's a total buy low, sell high kind of thing. Like the Bucks are the sell high team and the Saints are the buy low team. And they have a little extra rest. The Saints do. They played on Thursday night. I hate this pick. I hate this pick, but it's like spot. I'm just like, I think the Bucks are good, but I think they've also gotten a little lucky. And I just think that the Saints, like this is their chance. Like they win this game, they'll probably go to the playoffs and maybe win the NFC South. I hate this pick. I'm telling you right now, I hate this pick. I'm going to look like the dumbest person ever when Dennis Allen, who's one of the worst, he's literally by record one of the top 10 worst coaches in NFL history, and I'm betting him in a must-win game. So that's why I was breathing heavy, and I hate this pick.
Was this a breathing heavy because you knew you were going to do that before Will even started talking? Okay, so this was just like you were frustrated.
I was hoping I know what my picks are going into this, right. And I was hoping that Will was going to say the Saints so that at least we could be dumb together. But I just I can't. It's listen. Stu Feiner says it. The picks, the best picks in the world are the ones that you absolutely hate. You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable, and I hate this pick. Good. I hate this pick so much. So yeah, I did it. I'm taking them.
Okay. And for the head-to-head game that we're playing right now, this is turning out pretty nicely anyways. So we'll keep it rolling with the game of the week presented by the Chevy Silverado. So this could decide or help decide the top seed in the AFC between the Dolphins and the Ravens. The Ravens right now favored by 3.5. Dan, the Ravens with that monster win last week against the 49ers. We don't know as of right now what Tua is going to look like. He was limited in practice with, I believe, a quad and a left thumb. So we'll see what happens with that. But where do you lean on this game?
Yeah, so because we're taping it on Wednesday, Jalen Waddle, I think his ankle injury, that obviously matters a lot. Mm-hmm. I'm nervous because I'm going to take the Ravens again. The Ravens were my Super Bowl pick from preseason, 18-1, so I was very happy they beat the 49ers. If they can win this game, they'll have the 1 seed and I'll have a bye. Yes, I did say I'll have a bye. It does make me a little nervous because if you listen to what I just said about the last game, this is the sell high point on the Ravens. And the Ravens, if they've proven anything this year, they're like an exceptionally good team that will from time to time fuck around. Like all of their losses are fuck around losses where it's like they were up 14 on the Browns. They lost to the Colts in overtime at home. Like these weird, stupid games that the Steelers game when they dropped 1 million passes. So I know in the back of my head that could absolutely happen, but I'm going to take the Ravens and just keep riding them.
Will, do you agree?
Yeah, so a piece of advice I just learned, sell when they're hot, sell high. And I am taking the Dolphins. I think this is Vic Fangio versus Mike McDonald. Mike McDonald has the Ravens. Like, they are nasty on defense. I think Patrick Queen, his post-game pressers, like, we don't like to get cute on the field. We're going to hit you in the mouth, yada, yada. Says all the right things, everything you want to hear out of a linebacker. And the Miami Dolphins are just that. They're a cuter offense. But I'm taking the Dolphins. I think they obviously snuck out of there with the win against Dallas, but they played complimentary football. It's like when you look back at the Chiefs game, when they needed a game-winning drive, the offense couldn't put it together. They did against the Cowboys. When they needed the defense to step up against the Bills and they got hit in the mouth, they weren't able to. But fortunately, they were able to against Dallas. As efficient as Dallas looked, they're just a few inches away on a couple plays. Dak making a hell of a throw. The 4th down, having some penalties on that game-winning drive or on that drive that Dallas had to get him back in. It's like their defense is right there. Now that they're healthy, now they have Jalen Ramsey, and they seem to be clicking well. This could be a good spot to take the Dolphins and sell the Ravens while they're hot.
We're just going to go head-to-head on every game. The only other thing I had in this game was both these teams rush 4 at a high rate. Lamar is better against rushing 4 than Tua this year. But yeah, I mean, all three of these games, I feel like I could easily go 0-3 and be like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
Somebody's going to be happy, whether it's, Will not having to pay you at all or you getting $2,000 from Will. So we'll figure that out. Before we move on from this, though, where do you guys stand? Obviously, Lamar Jackson right now looks like he's the front runner for the MVP. Only a couple weeks left. Do you think that he ends up winning the MVP by the end of this?
I do, just because it's the dumbest award ever. It's literally decided in the last 3 weeks, and it's whatever quarterback gets the 1 seed. And Brock Purdy throws 4 interceptions. Everyone's like, he stinks now, which you're never as bad as your worst game, and you're never as good as your best game. But yeah, Lamar, I mean, he's deserving. He's played great this year. But I don't like that the MVP is built like that, where it's just like whoever wins games at the end of the season, like the last 3 weeks, it's like, all right, that quarterback, whoever's on the 1 seed, he's the MVP. But open it up to all positions. All positions should get. I mean, Christian McCaffrey has been incredible. Tyreek Hill has been incredible. Like a lot of these guys have been out of this world good. But Lamar will be, and he's deserving. I'm not taking anything away from him, but I just think the award is kind of stupid how they vote on it now.
Will your guy Jerry be down bad if that happens?
What?
Do you think Jerry will be down bad if Lamar Jackson wins it?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be his second MVP. You'd have to say he's pretty good at football.
Yeah, he won't be down bad because he'll be like, oh, he's got to win a Super Bowl.
Fair.
Yeah, true.
But I like, my opinion on it is, I agree with everything Dan was saying. It's like you finally have a year where other positions are kind of being talked about for it. Like people, even though, it's never going to happen, but people are even bringing up names like Trent Williams. Like this was finally a year to where there wasn't like 3 or 4 quarterbacks who have 4,000 plus yards at the end of the year, 40-something touchdowns, all these stats. And again, Lamar is very much deserving. He's had a hell of a game, especially in prime time. He showed up big against the Niners. But I do feel like it's just kind of, and this is going to come off like I'm taking something away from him, but like a watered down year for the MVP. And finally, a year where a Tyreek or a Christian could be in the conversation. But since getting banged up like as a skill position can kind of set you back, like with Tyreek, or if Christian, if they have a loss like they just did, or he doesn't have a massive stat sheet like he has been all year, like that just throws those guys out of it. And to Dan's point, they just give it to the best quarterback in the last few weeks.
It's not a knock on Lamar whatsoever. It's a knock on how they vote for the award. Lamar will win the MVP. He deserves to win the MVP. I just think the MVP should be voted on differently, and all positions should get a fair shake at it.
Yeah, just like have like the best quarterback of the year and then have the overall MVP. It's not, I completely agree. We see that with like all those types of awards. The Heisman's the same way in college. Okay, the gotta have it pick of the week. So Dan, you have the Chargers and the Broncos. And obviously today we are recording on Wednesday. Massive news coming out of Denver. Sean Payton has decided that Russell Wilson is benched. He will not be playing. Jarrett Stidham is going to finish the rest of the season. Tons of conversation about the contract and what's happening. But Sean Payton, and I saw you tweeting about it, like coming out and giving every reason why, and him just saying like, look, I just want to win, not taking any blame. What do you think's going on in Denver with this right now?
I mean, I think Sean Payton's just a colossal dickhead. That's really all it is. He's just the biggest dickhead. Like him saying, well, we can't change out all 4 offensive linemen. We can't change out your 5 offensive linemen. We can't change out 4 wide receivers. Like he just hates everyone. And I think probably everyone hates him. It'll be weird though, because I feel like there is a weird bounce back here for a team when they switch quarterbacks. Because I mean, Will, you can speak to it. Like this is even that press conference, like everyone's tape is getting reviewed. And like if you don't perform here, you're not going to be here next year. So I like the Broncos. I think they're like, I knew that I was really mad at myself for taking the Bills last week, because that was such an obvious bounce back spot for the Chargers with the head coach. But now you get it reversed where it's like a bounce back spot for changing a quarterback, and everyone's like, fuck, we're on the chopping block.
Yeah, I agree. I think like it's maybe not as much of a gotta have it for the organization of the Broncos, but every individual player in that locker room has to have this game, because you can't come out and fold to the Chargers, who have been going through all their turmoil as well. So this is very much a gotta have it for all those players in the Broncos locker room. I think they get it done. I think it'll be what we've seen all year long when the next man up at the quarterback, you get some MVP play right out of the gate. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm with Dan. I'm taking the Broncos here, -3.5.
What do you guys think happens with Russ? What do you think happens?
Yeah, he's definitely gone. That's why they benched him.
Yeah, because they didn't want to get him injured, because he makes a lot of money if he gets injured.
Yeah, and the
Same
clause
exact
not
scenario. Same exact scenario as Derek Carr last year with the Raiders. They
Right.
wanted to move on. He had an injury clause. Like they got to protect their money there because if they get hurt on the field, they're locked in for millions of dollars.
And some team will give a shot to him. Like
Yeah.
Russ is not. I do think like Russ's numbers this year have been kind of a mirage. And the Broncos have been very lucky with a lot of their games, but some team will give him a shot. I mean, why not? He got humbled. You know, he'll probably be in a quarterback battle with some team that will take him, and then that will probably fail, and that will be it.
Yeah.
He's just he played so poorly last year, and it was just like the laughing stock of the NFL. And then there was a little bit of hope this year. We're like, well, wait a minute, him with Sean Payton could actually work. And clearly we're seeing now that Jared Stidham's the option. Just a weird storyline for Russ.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like the Broncos last year, the whole deal, trading all those picks, re-signing him to a massive deal, like that was a win now. Like even though he's made progress and people are talking about, oh, he's done well, he's made some jumps this year. Sean Payton's kind of treating him X, Y, Z, whatever. The Broncos are all in on Sean Payton. If Russell isn't playing like up to that elite level of what the deal dictated back when they made that deal, then you got to take the loss. You got to move on. Like that's just the nature of the beast. And the dude's made like over $200 million. Like
It's crazy.
He's going to be just fine.
I think he has more bathrooms in his house than he has wins with the Broncos.
It's still a crazy stat every time it's said, and I believe it's still correct. Okay, Will, you're gonna have it pick up is the Falcons and the Bears. I have to say, I know I'm used to Dan having the Bears. So do the Bears have to have it?
You know, this game jumps out to me as they have to have it, and it's the Falcons and Arthur Smith's probably playing for his job. Just say that game and that line every week. But yeah, I think the Falcons got to have it. Heineke came in, he made some magic of it. He's got an ankle going on. Do we know if he's going to? He's going to be straight, right?
I think so. I think he's gonna be okay.
Okay, I think he's going to be good. I like the Bears are tough now. Like Dan, we were talking about. Well, last week you were kind of giving up on them. That's where Jerry, we kind of had to say, hey, there's a little bit of hope here. Like the Bears, they're not no slap at the end of the year. It's like we're talking about teams. You got the Rams, you got the Bills, teams you don't want to see in the playoffs. The Bears are a losing team you just don't want to see at the end of the year right now. So I think the Falcons got to have it again. I think they're playing for their jobs over there in Atlanta, and Artie Smith. We needed to put some stuff on tape, so I'm going Falcons.
All right, I'm going Bears easy.
Easy.
Yeah, I mean the Falcons.
Bears seem obvious. Like this one, I truly don't like.
It's the Falcons have to run the ball to be successful, and the Bears have been really, really good against the run the last month and a half. And Taylor Heineke was great. I mean, I had the Falcons last week. I just think that this is going to be a lot harder game outdoors, maybe wind, maybe cold weather. The Bears are kind of built for something like that. They're going to run the ball down their throat. Yeah, Bears. And Justin Fields is playing for his job. I mean, I don't know what's going to end up happening, but every game is very important for him, whether it be with the Bears or wherever he lands after this.
What do you want Justin for next year? Like, what kind of future do you want with Justin Fields?
Herbert, yes. I'm done. I've put my hands up, done debating it. I think Justin Fields is a good quarterback. I would have liked to see a little bit more progression, but he has made progression. Like he's gotten better. He got fucked the beginning of his career. So I'm just trusting whatever Ryan Poles does. He's put us in a great situation, so much cap space, 2 picks in the first round, maybe the number 1 overall pick. Whatever he does, I'm in for. So if it's keep Justin Fields and build around him, I'm in. I'm buying it. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Just Poles, you take the wheel, and I'm ready for it.
So I know that we have a couple days. It feels like it's still a week away, but until we see what happens with Michigan. But are you still hoping for Jim Harbaugh in Chicago?
Oh yeah, of course I am. Of course I am. I don't think it's going to happen, but of course, a boy can dream.
Do you think Harbaugh signs the 10-year?
I don't know. I mean, it is kind of funny. They only had like 1 year that he couldn't go to the NFL, so why not sign it?
Yeah. What are we talking about?
Yeah, I do think if they win it all, he'll take a good hard look and be like, the NCAA is going to come after me. Like, why don't I just get out? I'm at the top. I did everything I wanted to do at Michigan, beat Ohio State 3 years in a row, won a national title. So yeah, I am rooting for Michigan to win it all.
which is kind of crazy because like you rooting for something for Dave to have another like shiny trophy in
Correct.
his trophy case, but like
Correct.
it benefits you as well.
But it's also if you're playing this out in your head, it's most likely that Jim Harbaugh wins the national title and then like goes to the Chargers. So I'm like lose. Just Charlie Brown. Just
He
trying to
can
kick
still
the football.
bounce even if he doesn't beat Alabama. If they get wiped by Bama, like you're just like, okay, I've hit the ceiling.
That's
like,
a good
plateaued.
point. That's a good point because like this is the best Michigan's going to be. And
Yes.
if you can't even beat a down Alabama team, okay, all right, I'm in for
What
that.
you don't want is for them to beat Bama and then go play Washington or Texas and like barely lose. And then they'll be like, okay, we're making steps, we're progressing each year. You want them to either get the shit kicked in or win the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
It hurts for Will. Will has it way worse than me. Like I don't have to see Dave every day. So Will is not rooting for me.
I truly want them to get I want them to get dogged out badly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just need that. I need that very badly for Alabama to just put it to them, to just boat race these boys.
Will's just like
and I told
Taylor
to his face.
Ever.
I told him. I was like, hey, I just want them to win by late. He's like, no, you don't. Like, just be honest. And I was just like, yeah, you're right. I really do hope that you guys get fucking wiped out with your face in the air.
Well, then that's also kind of on Dan's side too, because then maybe that would mean Harbaugh needs to go and can make Dan happy. So you're really for the boys across the board.
Yeah, no question.
All right, let's get into the rapid fire games of the week presented by Body Armor. As everybody knows, Body Armor is the official water of Barstool Sports. You can get yours across the country and on Amazon. So we'll start with the Patriots and the Bills. The Bills with a whopping 13-point spread right now. Will, I'll start with you. The Patriots, obviously, very disappointing. The Bills looking a little bit hot. Do you think they cover that number?
I don't know, Dan. I'm seeking some gambling advice from you. You've had a lot of experience. This is the Bills are going to win this game, but are they? The Patriots win a game last week. Like, are they going to play savvy enough against the Bills to cover 13? I truly have no clue. That's why I need some advice from my big bro right here.
Yeah, this is a very tough one because I feel like you can see it in two different ways. Like the Bills had their scare, and now it's back to business. You know that if you win this game. And the Ravens somehow, if the Ravens beat the Dolphins, now week 18 is for the AFC East, for the 2 seed, for, sitting in, or it might be the 3 seed. I can't remember how it all shakes out, for, having a home playoff game. But there's something about it. And Will, maybe you can tell me this. Like, you've probably been in this spot. There's so much pressure on the Bills. There's so much pressure on the Bills to not fuck this up. Like, they've already lost to the Patriots once, and they have everything in front of them. They've fought all the way back to this point where it's like right before the Chiefs game, they were dead in the water. Everyone's like, they have to win out. Now you're a step ahead. You're a step before the big week 18 game. And I think I'm going to take the Patriots. I think their defense is tough and they'll just keep this game close. And it's just, I feel like the Bills are in that mode of like, we can't make any mistakes.
Yeah, those are good points. I think I'm going to tell you. I think I'm going to write that because there's two thoughts to it, right? It's like they knew they didn't have anything to lose, but also their back was against the wall. But they went through the OC change, so it's like, okay, if we lose and it doesn't work out, then whatever, it doesn't work out. But since they had that back against the wall mentality, you're right, like they got back in it. But if you're, this is a situation where as a player, I feel like you, as a team behind closed doors, you look ahead every week just to kind of see what you have to do and take care, like what business you need to take care of. And to your point, like if they were to trip up on this game and say fuck around and lose, and they're 9-7 about to play in Miami, and then potentially just get kicked out of the playoffs, I think this is a high urgency game. And the way that they've responded so far to that urgency on the back half of the year actually makes me think that they might cover this. So now that I'm saying all that, I think I'm going to go Bills minus 13. Because I think it's one of those situations where they had the scare and they're all sitting there like, hey, we have to handle business. Not that we're going to lose against Miami, but we need to beat the shit out of this team and set ourselves up for a dogfight against Miami next week.
All right, I'm switching.
Okay.
Yeah, Will talk me into it.
Yeah.
Because the Bills, and the Bills are also a team, like, when they win big. That is true. Like, they do just demolish teams. So, and the Patriots, like, everyone's thinking the Patriots, they just went to Denver. Denver and the Bills. I know the Broncos beat the Bills, but they're in a different class.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go Bills. Bills Mafia.
Bills
I love that Will started with like, I'm gonna like tail you and I'm gonna take.
Yeah, and then we
take
both
the Patriots,
flipped. Yeah.
And then everybody flips. That's true
Let's do it.
teamwork. That's teamwork. Okay, the Rams at the Giants. Will, the Rams -4.5.
The Rams are nice. The Rams are
Nice.
like, again, I think they're the NFC's version of the Bills. Like, they're a team you kind of don't want to play on the back end. I think they struggle going across the country, but I think this is a game they get done. And I also think like this could be a team that's a little bit of a wagon if they sneak into the playoffs.
I agree. The Tyrod Taylor makes me a little nervous. I think he's a huge upgrade to Tommy DeVito, even though it was fun with Tommy DeVito. The Rams, though, and I know it's maybe not been the case this year specifically, but there's also been injuries for the Rams. Matt Stafford is really good against the blitz. He has been his whole career. That's what the Giants are going to want to do. And you could also point to the fact that like Kyron Williams is a dog in terms of blocking. And if they're going to blitz, he will put his face into anyone else's face. So I think you blitz Matt Stafford, he'll eat you alive. And I'm going to take the Rams.
Yeah, and I think Williams he eclipsed 1,000 yards, right? He's the first guy to do it since they had a Gurley on the roster.
Yeah, and he missed 5 games.
Yeah, they're rolling. I mean, 5-1 since a 3-6 start. Like if you think back to the Titans or those teams that go on to run the Giants when they ended up winning the Super Bowl that year over the Patriots, and then when the Titans a few years ago go on that 9-7 regular season run and get to the AFC Championship, the teams who play well and they're hot, and the Rams right now. They put up 30 plus over the last 3 out of 4 games. Like this is, I think this is a dangerous football team.
Is the Tommy DeVito story forever done? You think? Like you think it was just a fun little run, and now
he might get a backup spot somewhere. I said that the best scenario for Tommy DeVito is like he goes into witness protection, and by that I mean he's like the 3rd string quarterback for like the Arizona Cardinals, and like in like 2 years. There's a weird injury and he pops up and everyone's like, oh, fuck, Tommy DeVito's back. And we get to do it all again. I think he's done enough that he can be on a roster, though, which that's all you're trying to do if you're in his spot and have his, skill set.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a fun story. It was fun for a few weeks. And now, we'll see. I love that witness protection. That's great. Okay. So, Dan.
Yeah. I mean, dude, getting benched on national television on Christmas Day and then having to go back to your childhood bedroom, that's tough.
Yeah.
That is tough.
That is tough.
At least though your mom is making a meal for you. Like if you get benched and you have to go home and like eat shitty food, like you feel a lot worse. At least he got probably a home cooked Italian meal that was delicious.
And the way that family probably is, like they're still, reacting loudly to the headlines. Like, the move didn't happen. You know what I mean? Like they's got to hear them. What are we doing here? Why are we doing it this way? Just arguing in the living room, and he's just got to sit there and listen to it. Like, fuck, if I wouldn't have let him down.
He's just mad that wherever he has to play next, he can't live with his parents unless they move with him. So, we'll see what happens. Okay, Dan, the Titans at the Texans. The Texans right now favored by 5.
CJ Stroud's gonna be back, but I also am nervous because like a 2-week concussion feels bad. I think Will Levis is going to be back too. I'll take the Texans. I don't know. I don't really have much for this game. There's a bunch of games that's like, we got to make a pick and I don't love it. I don't really like this is a game I will not be betting. And I say that and I'm probably lying because like at 11:59, I'll be like, ooh, I got to throw in the Texans somewhere, but yeah, I'll take the Texans.
Will?
Yeah. Texans. I truly have no clue as well. I think Stroud will be back. He'll be healthy. Like it last week could have been precautionary with just, hey, this is our franchise guy. Like, let's just give it a couple extra days. I think he'll be back. But Delaney wanted me to pass along a stat for you, BC.
Oh, this is going to suck. This is going to suck. He's a king of bad stats.
The Titans and Texans have played 43 times, and the Titans lead 23-20. So if that's helpful.
Yeah, that's a bad stat. That's a bad stat. If he had said 22-21, I would have been like, oh, well, then the Titans are going to win because then it'll be tied. No, that's a bad stat. Good for him. Bad stat.
Yeah. We're rocking Texans.
At least you passed it along, though. That was very nice.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I like Delaney's bad stats because he's like, he just throws them out. It's like, what the fuck does that mean with this game? Nothing.
Dating back since 1992, these teams have faced 80 times. They're 40-40.
Okay, well, the Cardinals at the Eagles favored by 10.5.
Give me the Eagles. Eagles at home. I know it's a big spread, but the Cardinals are bleeding. They're done with the year. They're hoping that they get back in time for New Year's. But give me the Eagles. I think they hear all the noise being said. I do think they're not the same team as last year. They're kind of banged up. They're just a step slower in the back end of their defense. But I think they're going to be pissed off. I think they hear the noise. I think they handle business and cover at home in front of Philadelphia.
Dan?
I want to take the Cardinals here. The thing that makes me nervous, because I don't think the Eagles are good enough to blow teams out. We saw that with the Giants. The Cardinals get gashed on the running game. If the Eagles are smart, they just pound the rock right down their face and get out of there. So I guess I'll take the Eagles. I don't love it, though. I really don't love it.
Okay, Dan, the 49ers and the Commanders. 49ers obviously get surprised last week by the Ravens. Do they bounce back? It's 13 points.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett. How many? What is it?
13.
13. Jacoby Brissett makes you nervous because he's clearly better than Sam Howell, or has been playing better. He came in relief 2 games and the offense looked way different, came all the way back against the Jets.
Backup quarterback.
I'll take the Niners, though. I don't know. They kill bad teams. Is Trent Williams hurt? Is he going to be okay?
I think he'll be okay. Like, we were talking about it earlier, and Trent, it could have been one of those injuries. They're getting their ass beat. He feels a little something in the fourth quarter. Like, hey, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Let's get off the field. I'm tired of getting my ass whooped. So, I think he is back in this week.
All right, I'll take the Niners. I hate this pick. I have a bunch of hated picks. Like,
usually when
this is so hard. Week 17. Yeah, it's just so hard to gamble this late in the season because, like, you just don't know the motivation on a lot of teams.
I feel like, though, on this show, that the weeks that you say that you hate them, you normally have good weeks. I'm assuming that you do that across the board on all your shows. But
I'm due for a clunker. I'm due for like a 4-12. I feel it coming. I'm very nervous about this week. I'm just being totally honest. I know I've been red hot. I hope people have been tailing when I'm red hot. This is like, stay away from me this week.
Will, are you going to take the 13 for the 49ers?
I think so. I don't want to. Like, I think Jacoby, he's a good quarterback. Like, he's somebody, if it's another team he's coming in to back up for, like, I think he wins the game. But Washington's so bad defensively, and the Niners are, like, again, Dan, we were texting about it at halftime. Now, Ravens put the foot on the gas and ran away with it. But that game was like, what was the score, 13-12?
Yeah, something like that at half. Yeah,
and the Niners had 5 turnovers. Like, they had 5 turnovers, and the game was only 13-12. So again, I think another team who will be pissed off and ready to go to Washington to play. I would love to bet on Jacoby right here, just because again, I think he's like maybe the best backup that the backups have seen this year, who's finally getting to play. But yeah, I'll go with the Niners. I'm kind of talking myself into Jacoby.
I know, but the last thing I'd say is, like, the Niners can't fuck around. Similar to
You're
the
right.
Bills, like, the Niners can't fuck around. If they drop one of these last 2 games, they won't have the 1 seed, and it's like, what was this all for? You have to now play a first round game. Like, they have it all in front of them still because they beat the Cowboys and the Eagles, so they just gotta go do it.
Yeah, but they could still win and not cover 13
Oh, because
points.
the Lions. Could the Lions get the 1 seed?
Yeah, if the Lions win out, I believe that they have the 1 seed.
Fuck. I'm gonna look that up.
I'm pretty sure that's what I was. I'm pretty sure that's what I was reading today. Is the Lions actually control their destiny? If they win out, they would have the 1 seed with the bye, and that could be off. But I'm pretty sure that's what I read.
This is the part of the year where, like, all the seeding math and, like, who's going to play who, like, it starts to get so confusing with who's clinched and who's already in but doesn't know their seed. So, Dan, when you tell us, or when you look it up, tell us.
Well, you have to do, like, the playoff machine. Right now, it says if they both win out, the Niners are the 1 seed. But I think there's, like, weird tiebreakers that I'm not aware of. I need that.
I know the tiebreaker stuff is so confusing to me.
Especially when a team hasn't played each other, and then it's like division record and conference record and all this bullshit.
Yeah,
Niners have to win though. That's a fact.
Yeah,
Niners have no chance at the 1 seed. Yeah,
and the Commanders are just so bad, just horrific.
They are so bad. Like, yes, they are so bad.
Okay, well, the Raiders and the Colts. The Colts favored by 3.5.
Raiders. Got to ride the Raiders right now. They're hot. Like, Big Cat, I watched. I was seeing the clip with you and PFT earlier today about Antonio Pierce, Coach Pierce's speech before the game, the words, the violence, hate,
Yeah.
violence. They are taking on the form of exactly the brand of football the Raiders want to be. The silver and black wants to be. That's what the fan base wants. Like, truly, everybody who's rooting for the Raiders is absolutely eating up what they are selling in Vegas right now. The defense is on fire. Who was it? Jones had another pick six. Like, they're
Yep.
playing with swag. They're playing confident. Again, ripping stogies. Like, they are having so much fun. And I think he's going to be the next head coach of the Raiders. And I think they take care of business against the Colts.
I'm with you. Raiders they're just playing tough. And I think Max Crosby's just going to eat in this game. Gardner Minshew hasn't been great when he's been under pressure. Yeah, Raiders, all Raiders.
Bro, Crosby is so good.
So good.
I tell him that. I hate telling him that, but he is
So
playing so good. And the camera's always on him, and he truly never turns it off. And
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it.
It's crazy.
He's just that guy.
He really is.
Yeah.
Okay, Dan, the Panthers and the Jags. The Jags favored by 6.5.
This game sucks.
It sucks.
I'll take the Panthers. I don't know. The Jags are so bad. They're so, like, Trevor Lawrence has had a billion injuries. Panthers are playing hard. Just give me the Panthers. I do not want to bet this game, though. This game sucks.
I mean, it's terrible.
This is one of the games I lost on, and it was I didn't understand how they were just getting their ass beat by the Buccaneers. But I'm gonna take the Jaguars. I don't know. It's like I have no clue. I don't feel good about that, but I'm going with the Jaguars.
This is probably one of those games for both of you that if you didn't have to pick on this show, you would just absolutely act like it wasn't happening.
Yeah, no, this is not. Yeah.
Well, last week I tried not betting on the Commanders Jets. I tried passing, and I ended up having to pick the Commanders, and I lost that one.
Yeah, I do care about this game and the fact I can't have the Panthers win. So I am going to be like tuned in because the Panthers have to lose out. But yeah, this game sucks. Jaguars are a bummer. They're just a bummer of a team. Like, I think about them, I'm like bummed out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I didn't even finish the sentence yet, and you were already making fart noises. So that's how we know.
Yeah, this game sucks.
Okay, well, the Steelers at the Seahawks. The Seahawks favored by 3.5.
I have no clue. I think it's like the Steelers. They scored 30 points, which was like the first time since I don't know. They haven't scored 30 points in a very long time. Mason Rudolph. I have no clue if it's one of those things where we're going to get a couple games out of the backup quarterback. Like you have Dobbs. You've had some moments with these backups this year. Is he going to pull off another one? I'm going to go with the Seahawks because it's at Seattle. And I think that they're just kind of like a scrappy team who they're not going to out talent anybody, but they just find their ways to win. And I like Seattle in this situation to cover.
Dan?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Steelers. I don't love it. The only reason I'm taking them is the Steelers do play a lot of man. They're very injured, so I don't even know if that's a good thing. Geno sucks against man. And the Seahawks, all they do is play close games. I mean, they should be way better than the Ryan Tannehill Titans. They should be, every game is close. Every game comes down to, I think Geno has 4 game-winning drives this year, which leads the league. So if you give me 3.5, I'll take 3.5 and just hope the Steelers can keep it close.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, Dan, the Bengals at the Chiefs. The Chiefs favored by 7. Obviously, the Chiefs drop another one last week. A lot of conversation about where they stand. Do you think that they can beat the Bengals by 7? And where do you stand on them?
So the Chiefs are broken, officially very broken. I do not think they have, we'll sell ourselves on Patrick Mahomes getting into the playoffs and being like, watch out for him. But you have to just remember what you've seen. Like, they're a broken team. The one thing that I like, though, I'm taking the Chiefs because it's a scary thing to say because it's basically Andy Reid being someone different than he's been his entire career. But if the Chiefs want to run the football in this game, they will win this game by more than 7. The Bengals cannot stop anyone on the run. DJ Reader being out for the season killed that defense, which was already leaky to begin with. So I think the Chiefs are going to be able to run the football, control the clock, and I'm going to take the Chiefs.
Will?
I'm riding with that same thought. The Chiefs are very good when they're trying to get a bad taste out of their mouth, and I think they're very pissed off about losing to the Raiders. You saw the reactions on the sidelines. And again, I think that that they might blow the Bengals out this week because they're pissed off, and usually that's what happens. But I'm with Dan. Like I was saying earlier today, I was talking to somebody, and I'm like, they're not a Super Bowl contender. They're going to get into the playoffs, maybe win a game, but again, like Dan said, this is a broken team, and it'll pop its head out later on in the year or January. I mean.
Okay, Dan. Last game, the Packers at the Vikings. The Vikings -2.
Okay. I'm going to take the Packers. Their defense is really bad. Really, really bad. Jordan Love has been good, but now with Hawkinson out for the year, I think Jordan Addison might be out again. You saw it. Like their offensive weapons are just like those two guys are so damn good. And I know Justin Jefferson was awesome on Sunday, so he will probably have a crazy game because the Packers can't stop anyone. Jair Alexander with one of the funniest suspensions of all time, just crashing the coin toss. But I'll take the Packers -2.
Yeah, that clip was crazy.
Or
like,
+2.
I mean, yeah, +2. The clip was crazy, Will. Like, I know everybody on Twitter was obviously reacting to it, but it was just like I had to watch it multiple times to even try to understand exactly what he thought was going on.
Yeah, no, that was all time, and I just loved the shameless swag about it that he had. Like he's like, who
the
cares?
Macho Man glasses on.
Yeah, and the Macho Man glasses. Like anybody saying to you on the sidelines, like, what's anybody gonna say to me? What are you talking about?
I should know I was from Charlotte.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Dan on this one. I'm gonna go Packers. Yeah, they're playing bad on defense, and it's painful. Joe B. He was my coordinator in Washington, but again, I just don't think with the Vikings you got T.J. Hawkinson. He's out for the rest of the year. I forget what the name of their edge rusher. He's out for the rest of the year. They're missing some key guys who help open everything up out for Justin Jefferson. And since they're kind of in a quarterback carousal on figuring out who they're going to go with, whether it's Nick Mullins or what's the rookie's
Jaron
name?
Hall.
Jaron Hall.
From BYU, yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a game that the Packers kind of not like get back on track, but get back to how they were playing a few games ago against the Vikings. But Dan's right. Justin Jefferson's still going to go off because it just seems like, I don't know what it is, whether it's schematics or the way the game's getting called. I haven't watched the Packers enough this year. But in the back end, like if Jair, like there's a lot of personalities in the defensive room. And when that room is off, the rest of the team is off. And I don't know if Joe B has stuck his neck in that room and tried taking over that room. I know he had a tough time doing that when we were in Washington. That's where things kind of snowballed because of all the big personalities in the DB room. But I like the Packers here +2.
It really, like the Packers they made one of the worst trades of the NFL season when they traded Rasul Douglas to the Bills, who's been awesome for the Bills, who's helped that defense completely turn around. They traded the wrong cornerback. Like that was, But yeah, Justin Jefferson, I mean, he's so elite. There's no one who has his speed and route running. Like it's just unfair how good he is.
Right. And if you're going to have somebody, not lock him down because you'll never like lock him down, but the corner, whoever's lined up across from him, they have to be hungry, man. There's something about like, not that Jano wasn't still an elite cornerback when he came to Washington, but those guys who get paid big money, you just lose a little bit of that edge, and corner is the one spot you cannot lose that.
Okay, it's time for 3 bad opinions, Dan. I don't know if you guys have 3. There is only 2 of you, so I guess maybe we could just do 2 bad opinions or maybe just 1 gigantic bad opinion. How do you guys want to do this?
Do you have one, Will?
Not necessarily like – no.
Okay, I have one. I think the Chiefs are going to get bounced in the first round. Patrick Mahomes still not going to play a or away playoff game. I don't know if that's a good opinion or not. Arrowhead's a tough place to play. I just think the Chiefs are going to – I think they're that broken.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I like that opinion. Like that's an opinion I would buy and want to take.
Really? But it's Patrick Mahomes at home in Arrowhead. Like I
think everybody else, Dan, I think on this show between me and you, I think it's a good opinion, but I think everybody else will say that's a bad opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those opinions that I'm like, I'm going to get there and I'm going to be like, going to try to bet against him. And then he's going to make me feel so stupid.
Yeah. I'll go down with you on that one.
On Pardon My Take, obviously, you guys are taking a stance against Taylor Swift. I mean, do you think that part of being broken a little bit has to do with how you feel about her?
No, listen, I'm not going to blame Taylor Swift for Travis Kelce's, drops and everything, weak legs. That's what some people might say. I'm not going to blame Taylor Swift. I just wish Taylor Swift didn't ruin Christmas for a bunch of kids across America when she just showed up with Santa Claus and all the kids were like, wait, Santa's at a Chiefs game? I thought he delivered all those presents last night. Isn't he tired? So, yeah, that's just something we'll all have to deal with as a country.
I mean, first she was swearing on national TV and now she's ruining Santa Claus. I didn't even think about the Santa Claus thing. Maybe it's because my son's not old enough to know Santa Claus yet, but that's a good point.
Yeah, you're lucky because every household in America was like, how's Santa walking in with Taylor Swift? Like, wasn't he just flying around the whole world? This makes no sense.
He should be sleeping. I would like it on record that I love Taylor, but if she would have ruined Christmas for my son, I would not like her anymore, Will.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we had a good little Christmas. Rue was having a lot of fun figuring out how to open up presents. I think next year is where she makes a big leap into understanding Santa for real.
Yeah.
And then you get the naughty list. Yeah. And then it's like, hey, listen, I've been talking to the big guy.
That's what I cannot wait for.
I mean, the fact that parents can be like, if you don't behave right now, I'm going to text Santa and tell him, like, that seems like the ultimate cheat code.
It's all of December. It's just holding over all of December. It's like, I have no parenting moves left.
And Dan, now we can scheme a year. Now that we have a whole year to prepare for this, next year we will have Santa suits just ready at our houses for any time we need to go as far as FaceTiming. And then, hey, Dan, I'm going to call you in 5 minutes and you're just going to be sitting there standing up. I'm going to let you know the logistics.
What's
like,
going on?
Hey, stop peeing the bed, Dan. We're trying to get her to stop peeing the bed. So just let her know. It's me sitting there FaceTimed up.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah. And so if Taylor Swift ruined that, I can understand why parents would be pissed at her, Dan. So maybe I need to change my tune on that because that would make
something
me
to think about. I'm not saying she did. Something to think about.
How about Cowboys are winning a playoff game this year?
That's a bad opinion. I only say that
might be a bad opinion because they got to go on the road. Yeah.
Yeah, they only win at AT&T Stadium, it seems. I know they've won more games than I think 7, but still. They've played, I think, they had 7 at home?
Yeah, they're so good at home.
Yeah,
that might be a bad opinion based on how they've looked on the road.
Yeah, it's crazy to the gap
disparity,
of outscoring teams like 177 points when they're at home, and then obviously being outscored when they're on the road is just an insane stat.
It really is.
And it's just asking like Dak Prescott and that team to win on the road in the playoffs. It sounds crazy. It sounds like a bad opinion, but maybe they'll finally break.
It's almost like maybe they have an edge at home. Maybe they're maybe they're hacking into the communication. Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe
it does seem a little weird.
Just spitballing seems like it's a little
just
out of
something
the
to think
ordinary.
about. Just something to ponder. Yeah. All right, so we will be back next week, but between now and then, we will have the Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl. We will all be there in Arizona. It's going to be, I mean, who knows what's going to happen. It'll be on the CW, obviously on our sites as well. Dan, I know that, I mean, you never know what's going to happen in the booth. Will and I will be on the field. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I'm going to bet a lot of money on Wyoming. I'm just going to say that right now.
Even though you have the key to Toledo?
All right.
The fact that Wyoming's coach is retiring. Like he's an old head, like that's going to get everyone pumped up.
Gotta send them out right. Send them out right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, make sure to tune in, everybody. We will see